It's pretty nippy out tonight. Yeah, it's definitely getting into the back end of fall. Well, I guess we're all in the kind of the start of fall, but man, it's sure starting to feel cold. Either way, I had some interesting thoughts about MMOs today. We're talking about basically like the people that solo in MMOs. It's a massive multiplayer online video game, so you got your Warcraft, you got your EverQuest, you got your Ultima Online, and all the new ones, Eve, whatever. But we're mainly talking about the people that play these games as like a solo game, when it's really designed to be a game that you play with other people. And I think that's why games like Warcraft really kind of won out over EverQuest, and games that like Ultima Online or what's that one where you can play Centaurs and was really PvP oriented. Anyway, the problem with that being that you need to be social in order to deal with any of the content is that you need to be social to deal with any of the content. The majority, well, maybe not majority, depending on what studies you look at, it's between 20 to 50% of people are more on the introvert side of things than extroverts. And the gaming community, as a generalized thing, is actually more on the other side of that, or more on the introvert side. So you're catering games to people that are introverts just by nature. And the more I got thinking about it, like I love the social aspect of MMOs. I love the social aspect of any games. Even back when we were doing MUDs and text-based games, I loved having the little chat rooms that you could go into and actually be social. But the part that I enjoyed most out of any MMO that I've played is taking that structure that's designed around a social aspect of having a group content and being able to blow through it with a solo character. I find that way more challenging. Killing something that was supposed to be killed by 3 or 4 people by yourself, to me, is more fulfilling and more challenging than getting in the group of 3 to 4 people that it was originally designed to be killed with. And I think it takes more skill, because you have to rely on yourself. Relying on other people is a skill, it's just a completely different skill set. However, relying on your own skills, if you fail, you're done. There's no one to back you up, there's no healer. And I'm not talking about games that require like mercs or things where you can, you know, almost dual or triple box without an extra helping hand. That's not really in the same kind of area that I'm getting at. But when I played EverQuest, I love to play classes like Rangers or classes that were by definition, by the deck that they were handed by the game, crippled. And then taking those classes and just wasting something that I shouldn't be able to kill with them and playing them to their max. And that took a lot of time and a lot of death and a lot of trial and error. But when you finally got it, you achieved something. I mean, if you could take out yellow and red con mobs with a ranger in EverQuest 1, you were doing something right, and people wouldn't be able to argue otherwise, because a lot of classes couldn't take out hardly anything solo, let alone something that would con above your level. But you could do it. You could take a ranger and you could solo, as long as you were able to keep them snared or rooted and had enough arrows to deal with it, or you could do root rot with mana, but that's another whole thing entirely. Anyway, if you're willing to put in the time and the skill and not screw up once because you're squishy, and you'll probably go splat within, you know, a half dozen hits or so, you will accomplish something that other classes that are solo classes even have trouble doing. And that to me was a really cool part of MMOs. And you just don't get that in the MMOs that are exceedingly watered down now. The vast majority of MMOs have at least a pathway that you can solo all the way up to max level. And I find that kind of path content to be really, I don't want to say boring, because it is enjoyable, but it's not as good as challenging yourself with some of the more group-based content. So even if you had to, say, get into a group-based dungeon and maybe even just trying to clear out the entrance area, that kind of a challenge to me is a lot more robust and really what you're there for than just following the solo paths that they've put in games nowadays. And there's so many different types of introvert players. There's ones that are busy because they have kids and their wife's sleeping and they can't do voice chat over a headphone because they'll wake everyone up in the house, or they're only able to play on their lunch breaks. They got 30 minutes, they got to grind something out. There's ones that are just socially don't want to deal with people, or they find people to be beyond annoying and don't know what they're doing, and there are those types. There's the sociopath loners too that just want to go out and grief people and they don't have groups because, well, they're kind of dicks. But there's just a huge mixed bag of people that will play these games on a solo basis for their own reasons, and there's nothing wrong with it, really. They're finding their own niche, and it really makes the games what they are. If you removed all those people and all those niches from the games, and you had people that were only grouping, it would be a completely different experience and a different game. Anyway, next time you guys are in a game enjoying yourselves, maybe think about those loners that are out there, you know, farming trade skill materials or what have you, and realize that they're enjoying themselves and they're enjoying the game that you're also enjoying. Either way, you guys have a good night. Thanks kindly.